Okay, I'm good then.
Today is Tuesday, September 26th, and we are going to open the meeting for the Legislative and Human Resource Committee. First item on the agenda is public comment. If anyone would like to wish one of us a happy day and a good rest of the week, they can do so, and you have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is D. Jones. I stay at 967 Tamarack. I actually hope you guys do have a good day. I'm a guy full of positive energy, a lot of passion, a lot of love. Really hope you guys have a good day. I got some good things to share with you guys. So I've been working on getting esports at Kent District Libraries for about a year. I actually ran into Lance here at the Kent County Commission, and I don't even think I would have crossed paths with Lance if I never actually came here. So I'm glad I did staying engaged here because I ended up connected with him and asked him, would you guys like to put esports at Kent District Libraries? And he was like, well, I've never heard of it, but I'm interested in it. So I put together a long, extensive PowerPoint presentation and kept grinding it out for a year and kept connecting them with colleges and the biggest gaming companies on the planet. And I was at the gala for the Kent District Libraries, and I ended up finding out that they bought hundreds of thousands of dollars in esports and gaming equipment to develop infrastructure here at Kent County. And so I'm just really excited. I can't even explain to you like the fire that I feel because I've been working to do this, and it actually came from me just coming here to Kent County government. So it's just funny, like people don't like government, but I can actually say I've been able to change my community by showing up and being engaged. And I'm just really excited because Confluence just had their event, and all of the esports teams from the high schools and the colleges there, the D1s, the NAIAs, all of those cool colleges were there, and I got to connect with those college esports coaches. And then I connected them to Lance, and Lance wants to do a library esports league where the kids and patrons from across Kent County can actually compete in a library esports league, and me connecting them to the gaming company. They already have access to those games. And so these kids can actually get recruited to these colleges, actually playing in the library esports league. So I look forward to the infrastructure. I look forward to the economic change, the growth, the kids being able to get careers. I know that true change is coming. Like it's inevitable, it's coming. And I worked hard, and I can say that I put all that I had into making sure that this happened, and it is happening. And I'm just really happy because I'm a black person doing it. I'm a black person creating change in one of the worst counties for economic development in America. And I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep showing up. And if I didn't show up, if I didn't come here, I know I would have never crossed paths with Lance. I don't even know a time I can tell you that I did cross paths with him besides being here, to be honest. And so I'm just really excited to just tell you guys that esports is coming to the Kent District Libraries. I even got to speak to Amy Van Andel. Like, I chilled in her library, and I got to speak to her. She let me know her son is on the Catholic Central esports team. So some powerful people that know about esports, and their kids is a part of esports. So I really look forward to develop infrastructure, to creating an economic boost, to getting people out of poverty, and hopefully working with some of you Kent County commissioners, regardless of party. I really hope to work with you guys to continuously do this economic work and changing our community for the better. Thank you.
Thank you, D. Jones. Right at the bell. Is there anyone else that would like to be heard today on public comment? Seeing no one, we will move on to the next item on our agenda, approval of last meeting's minutes. Do I have a motion to approve by Pakala and support by Teal? Are there any comments or questions? If not, all those in favor say yes. Yes. All those opposed? Last meeting's minutes have been approved. Next item on our agenda, Parks Department Performance Measurement Review. Ben Swayze, our Parks and Rec Director.
Great, thank you, and thanks for the invitation today to come and talk a little bit about our Parks Department performance measures for 2022. I need to start off by saying there were a lot of great things that you're going to read about today that happened in 2022. I'm not responsible for any of them. There's a lot of great employees in the park system that I've had an opportunity to meet over the past 4 months, and they deserve all the credit for everything that's been going on here. But I'm the one that's fortunate to stand in front of you and be able to tell you about all the great things. So we'll get started. If you have any questions as we're making our way through, please stop me so I can answer them. So we're going to start off, just talk a little bit about how our vision statement in the Parks Department aligns with the board priorities. Then we're going to talk a little bit about our department strategic goals and touch on a few of the key performance metrics that we have in order to meet those strategic goals. I'm not going to go over every single one of them that was in the report in your packet. So if there's a specific objective in there that you have a question about that I don't cover, make sure that you ask me about it. Then we're going to look at a couple of our significant accomplishments for 2022 and look ahead to 2023 and beyond and the great things that we're going to be doing. So to start with, again, alignment with our boarding priorities, I would just want to touch briefly on our Parks mission statement. So the Kent County Parks Department enhances the quality of life in Kent County by providing outstanding parks and trails, adhering to the highest standards of recreation. And the next part of the statement really hits home about how we connect with those board priorities. So our department efficiently achieves this vision by developing vibrant partnerships, sustainable funding, and accessible parks and trails that amply meet the needs of future generations. And you'll see as we make our way through this that 2022 was a great year for doing that. So looking at our department strategic goals, our first goal is to acquire parklands, green space, and trail corridors to address the current and future needs of the community. I'm happy to report that in 2022, we added 160 acres to our system through 3 strategic acquisitions. The biggest one was the James and Shirley Bulk Family Park, which is 123 acres on 10 Mile in Cannon Township. This was a great partnership with a family in the area. The Silver Lake Golf Course was scheduled to close. They were going to build about 250 condos on it. And this resident on the neighboring lake decided that they didn't want to have those condos in the backyard. So they purchased the property and they donated it to the Kent County Parks Department through our foundation. We're really excited to be working on this project. You can see on the PowerPoint slide that we already have a draft master plan. We did meet with the community last week. We had about 150 people that came and gave us comments about the park, the draft master plan, and some additional things that we'd like to see in it. So we're currently working through that to get that plan updated and working with the Kent County Parks Foundation in order to begin raising money for implementing that master plan. We had another addition to the Thornapple Riverbend property, which is a property in Caledonia Township, just south of 64th Street. Really excited about this property as well. At this point, we have accumulated enough property in this area to begin implementing our master plan here as well. The Board of Commission did allocate a significant amount of money to begin that process in 2023, and we're excited to get started on that. And then we had a strategic addition in Millennium Park as well. So there's a very auspicious entrance to Millennium Park, and we're able to work with the Kent County Foundation to purchase a property right on the corner of Maynard and Butterworth with the idea that we're going to create a grand entrance into Millennium Park in the future. So our next strategic goal is to develop enhanced park and trail facilities to improve the diversity and quality of recreation opportunities. The key way that we do this is implementing our master plan. So in order to remain eligible for DNR trust fund grants, the department every 5 years has to update our Parks and Recreation master plan. And we use this as an opportunity to lay the groundwork for what we want to accomplish over the next 5 years. I'll say that we don't do it just to remain eligible for those grant funds. There are some communities that do that, and they end up with a very basic master plan. We really use our master plan as the guide in order to make sure that we're developing our system in a manner that's consistent with the expectations of our community. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But each year we go through, there's a whole list of action items at the back of the plan. We use that to develop our budget. We use that to develop our operating plan. This year, happy to report that we did complete 9 of those items. Just a couple items that I wanted to highlight. We secured funding to construct new rental facilities at Wabassis Campground. And of course, we talked about expanding our parks to improve recreational opportunities and secure natural resource quality. The next department's strategic goal is to protect the quality and sustainability of the Kent County Park System by continue to increase and diversify funding sources. Happy to report that in 2022, our earned revenue actually accounted for 48.7% of our operating expenditures in the department, which is an incredible benchmark for our department. We did have a study done about 2 years ago about our centennial that's coming up in 2024 for the Parks Department, and benchmarked our organizations against similar organizations across the state and across the country. Typically, you found that earned revenue accounted for anywhere between 15 and 25% of the operating expenditures for departments. So we do a great job utilizing those earned revenue sources, but we also try to balance that again with the opportunities and the quality of the experiences in the county. So we're not here running a business, we're here running a public service, and it's make sure we do it efficiently and effectively. But we do have a couple of earned revenue sources, so Millennium Park entry and concessions, our Wabasis Campground reservations and our store there, our Kaufman Golf Course and Clubhouse, and then we have rentals, special events, and partnerships in all of our parks. I also think the department does a very good job of seeking grants and donations in order to fund the expansion of our system as well. In 2022, we were able to obtain 2 separate MDNR grants for a total of $750,000. Again, that went towards the addition of the Thornapple River Greenbend property and the addition to Millennium Park. We were able to pursue municipal partner funding through Caledonia to help for the match that we needed for that acquisition in Caledonia Township. And then we had a philanthropic donation of $1.35 million, again, from James and Shirley Bulk through the Kent County Parks Foundation to fund the acquisition of the Bulk Family Park. That bottom graph you see there, we also chart a rolling average of 4 years. So in 2022, our rolling average of 4 years for donations and grants for capital improvements is $1.8 million. Not in this graph, but a different graph that's in your report, we actually have a goal of $3 million of capital funds in 2023, and we're well on our way to achieving that. So the next goal that we have is to protect the quality and sustainability of the Kent County Park System by continuing to increase and diversify our funding sources. That includes volunteer services. So we have a goal to collaborate with outside agencies and organizations on at least 75 projects annually. In 2022, we did that at 93 projects, and that was done primarily through our volunteer services program. So one of the investments that the county made in 2022 is we converted our previously part-time volunteer services coordinator into a full-time position, really to ramp up that opportunity. And the statistics really show that that was a great investment for our department. So in 2022, we had 7,921 volunteer hours. When you're applying for grants, you can typically list the value of volunteer hours anywhere between $20 and $25 an hour. So if you do the math, it's very clear that that is a huge boon to our organizations. We were able to interact with over 110 service groups, 2017 individual volunteers, and we did projects at 23 of our 43 Kent County Park sites. Not included in the volunteer services, we also had 1,484 steward hours. These are our regular people that are come in. Usually they're assigned to a specific park, or I say assigned, they choose a specific park, usually because it's in their neighborhood or something that's dear to them. We are also able to do 1,892 invasive species control project hours. You can imagine managing a system over 7,500 acres. Invasive species is a huge issue for us. We continue to invest heavily in invasive species control projects, and happy to report in 2022, we treated over 58 acres for invasive species in our system. Our next department's strategic goal is to efficiently provide a quality 18-hole golf course for the general public. We have Kaufman Golf Course in Wyoming. I am not a golfer, but I have already been very impressed with the quality of our course, the quality of staff that runs it, and the way that we run it as well. Again, if you look back to our mission statement, we're not here to provide a revenue maximizing golf course. So if you look at a lot of golf courses that maximize revenue, they're doing leagues, they're putting out beer carts, they're hosting events, they're hosting weddings. We don't do that. We operate our golf course in a manner that provides a high-quality golf experience to our residents, and one that's honestly disappearing in Kent County. So we talked about the Silver Lake Country Club closing. I've had calls from 3 high school golf coaches over the past 3 weeks. The Pines is closing in Wyoming as well. They're looking for another place to play. So this is a very important recreation asset for Kent County, and one that's rare to find it in the area that it's in. That is a very high dollar piece of real estate. I'm sure there's a lot of housing developers that would like to get their hands on it and put row housing in there, but we're proud to operate it. And we're proud to operate in a manner that doesn't dedicate any public funding to it. So our golf course is operated $1.36 for every dollar that we spend, and make sure we can continue to provide that high-quality recreation experience. So our next strategic goal is to efficiently provide a range of enjoyable recreational opportunities at Millennium Park that are easily accessible to the general public. I think we all know that Millennium Park is the crown jewel of our park system, over 1,500 acres of both paid and recreational opportunities in the park. So just a couple metrics that I wanted to touch on. First is attendance at the park attributed to our Splash program. This is the program that we provide free admission to underprivileged residents to get into the park. We did have a significant disruption in this particular item in 2020 when COVID hit. In fact, I don't think we had any attendance at the park that was attributable to that. And then because of the changes in the way certain programs ran, we had to redesign the program as well. So our new partnership is through Kent District Library and Grand Rapids Public Library. And happy to report that we're starting to see that attendance rebound. So in 2022, 7.31% of our attendance at Millennium Park was attributed specifically to the Splash program. We also have a goal of operating the park at a 0.60 operating ratio. Again, meaning that we're hoping to bring in 60 cents of revenue for every dollar that's spent there. Because the vastness of the park and the resources that we have to dedicate to it, I don't think this park will ever be one that will operate solely on the revenue that's brought in through it. Again, because of the high quality experience we want to provide to people, that's just not the case. And in fact, we did add a 3rd full-time assistant manager to the park in 2022 to continue to maintain it in the high quality manner. But we're creeping back towards that 60 cents on the dollar, and we're hoping in 2023 that we will hit that again. Another department strategic goal is to efficiently provide a range of campsite and support facilities to the general public. I don't know if any of you have been out to Wabassis Campground, but it is a great opportunity, very popular, and offers a wide range of camping opportunities, right? So if you don't have any camping equipment or any camping experience, we have a full-service cabin that is on the lake. If you really like to rough it, we have rustic sites where you can hike in with your tent, and we offer anything in between. So super popular because of the range of services we offer there. A great natural experience too. A lot of campgrounds, you basically get your little paved pad, and there's not a lot to do. Here we offer the woods and the beach and the lake, obviously, so great opportunity. And again, the park provides recreation opportunities for people that aren't actually camping either. So Wabassis Lake is the biggest inland lake in Kent County, and we have the premier public ramp there, which is very popular, and a very popular beach there as well that's open to anybody that wants to use the park, just not campers. But again, we operate the campground in a manner where the revenue provided through the campground pays for the expenditures out there. So, and we continue to make strategic investments in the park. Again, mentioned this year, we built 3 more rustic cabins. And the payback on those originally was we thought it was going to be about 6 years. Now it looks like the return on investment will be 5 years or less. So very popular there. Just to talk about a couple of significant accomplishments in our department in 2022. I think every day somebody tells me how lucky I am to be in the Parks Department in a time where I did not have to sit in the trailers. They're pretty famous. And happy to see that the Parks facility was opened in October of 2022. Has been a great facility, not only for our department, but for the Kent County organization and other organizations as well. So we've had several departments that have hosted trainings, lunches, staff meetings in our building, and we continue to partner with outside organizations that we're involved in as well to provide meeting space. The non-motorized group at the Grand Valley Metro Council comes and meets at our facility. The West Michigan Conservation Network held their annual meeting at our facility. Experience Grand Rapids is starting to meet there. So it's great to be able to invite our partners into our building and provide a space to meet. And again, we already talked about the James and Shirley Balk Family Park, which was acquired in 2022, and we're looking forward to the development of that park in future years. Look ahead just to some of the projects that are coming up as well. I've touched on a couple of these. Spent an hour talking to you guys about the Grand River Greenway a couple weeks ago, so I promise I won't spend another hour talking about that, but there isn't a day that goes by in my week that we don't do something related to this project. So we're very excited about that, a lot of moving parts. We just met with Representative Molinar yesterday to talk about funding for the Lowell section. In the past week, I've met with Camden Township, Plainfield Township, and the Road Commission as well. We meet with our engineers on almost a daily basis. So looking forward to that, and we're still anticipating that the final routing for that project is going to be done at the end of this year yet. Wallfield Park, we did a master plan for Wallfield Park in 2020 and 2021. Started the implementation for the master plan in 2023 with the addition of the north parking lot that, while it serves the whole park, specifically serves the mountain bikers in the park as well. I worked with Josh Spencer and the team at Blandford Nature Park over the past couple weeks to put in a grant application for this project for the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunities Community Center Grant Program. We're very excited about that grant. We should hear about it in October. And if we're able to get that grant, it will certainly jumpstart the phase 2 of the Wallfield Park development. A couple more projects that we've talked about. So Two Rivers Park, so we finished what I consider the last section of strategic acquisition of that in 2023. Looking forward to the implementation of the master plan there. And then just a couple weeks ago, finalized the acquisition of the addition of Townsend Park, and looking forward to implementing that master plan. We have one more big acquisition in Caledonia that we're working out, Andronico Community Park. We hope to finish that up by the end of the year and move into implementation of that master plan. And a project that I'm really proud to be working on is the 5-year master plan development. Again, we talked about that. Our master plan is up for renewal. We are in the community surveying portion of this right now. Happy to report that we have nearly 1,000 responses to our master plan survey. So our last master plan, we moved forward with about 260 responses. So we've been doing a lot to make sure that our community has the opportunity to tell us what they want their park system to look like, specifically because the way our residents interact with our park system changed significantly throughout the pandemic, and we think that there's a lot of new information to gather there. So if you haven't taken the survey, I would recommend getting on there and taking that. And in the next couple months, you'll see me quite a few times back here in front of you talking about that and looking to the adoption of that master plan. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Again, I started out at the beginning, just wanted to thank the Parks team. 2022 was another banner year for the system. Again, I wasn't here. I had absolutely nothing to do with it, but this team was, and I just wanted to give them the kudos that they deserve for the work went on in 2022.
All right, thank you, Ben, appreciate it. Commissioners, comments, questions? Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Burrow. Ben, thanks for being here today. You spent a lot of time talking about your 5-year master plan. And I look at master plans that keep being renewed, it's just a blink of time that we're focusing in on. So you mentioned golf courses, how we're blessed to have Kaufman Golf Course, and there's pressure to redevelop golf courses into housing units. So as the county moves forward, long after, I'm gone, and we start to look like Macomb and Oakland County, where it's just housing for as far as you can see each way. When does the park department start to worry about that the ratio of population to the amount of parks that they can use for recreation, enjoyment of life, quality of life, and all those things? When do we start looking at those long terms and the ramifications of this onslaught of growth, which is driven in partly by government selling this story that it's a great place to live, you should move here, we got all these things going in downtown, which puts a pressure on the rest of the county? I know it's a long question.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
apologize for that.
Yeah, no, but it's a great question, right? And my answer is that, we started looking at that 20 years ago, and I think that the Parks Department in the county has done actually a really great job of recognizing that. So there is a metric, and I don't know it off the top of my head, I apologize, but a national metric about how many acres of high-quality regional parks, which is typically a park that is 200 acres or more, that you should have for a population in an urbanized area. And we've identified that in our master plan as a key metric. Back in 2004 or 2005, the Board of Commissioners actually set the objective at that time to have 7,500 acres in the system by, I want to say originally it was 2020, and it did take us a couple years extra, but with the acquisitions that we've done this year in 2023, we've actually bumped past that number. So as we're developing this master plan, I think, one of the key metrics that we're focused in on again is what's that new number, right? What our county looks like in 2024 is a lot different than what our county looks like when that metric was first put in place back in the early 2000s. And we do get questions sometimes about some of the outlying parks that we own. We own big expanses of land kind of in the outer areas of the county. We own a couple huge plots that we've talked about in Caledonia Township. We own over 400 acres in Spencer Township. We own nearly 500 acres in Lowell Township. And they're properties that have been put together over the past 20, 25 years, and we've really just accumulated the property. We haven't done anything with that. And it's been for that exact reason that we've identified those development pressures that are going on, and we've identified the need to maintain those in their natural state going forward. So I think the department focuses on that specifically, and it'll be a big item in our master plan going forward.
All right, any other questions or comments? Commissioner Bujak.
Thank you, Chair. Ben, nice presentation this morning.
Thank you.
The master plan, it goes up through 2023, so it'll be for the next 5 years?
2024 to 2028. And those, well, it's called the 5-year master plan. When you look at it, it has 10-year plans, it has 20-year plans in it. So
It's just
it doesn't
updated
just
every 5 years.
focus on 5 years. It's, the state of Michigan requires there to be an action plan in there for the first 5 years. So that's why it's technically called the 5-year master plan.
And then what kind of opportunities do commissioners have to participate? And can we anticipate getting invited to any meetings? And not that I need any more meetings, but just,
Of course.
I personally would like to be participating in this. I know Caledonia Township, in my district has been blessed with numerous parks, King County parks. So it is near and dear to me and is high on my priority list. I really want to be part of that process.
Yeah, certainly. And I just had a conversation with Mark Rambo about that earlier this week, about how we move to the next phase. So we really wanted to get the community survey. We've also been going to community events to collect feedback. So We went to the Fallsburg Fall Arts Festival. We went to the Thornapple River Cleanup Jamboree. We went to the Skirts in the Dirt event at Luton Park. We've been taking our survey boards to all of our volunteer events. So we really wanted to collect that survey data back so that when we came to the commission to talk about the commission input, you guys could have an idea about what the community is saying as well. So we're hoping to set up basically an open house style commissioner input session after a board meeting coming up in October and November. And I'll work with the staff here to get that finalized here in the next week or two.
And I wanted to comment on the volunteering program that you have at the county parks. Excellent. Your coordinator is Ginny Sines, is that correct?
Yes.
And I've worked with Ginny many, many, many years through GE Volunteers. A great program, and I think to the credit of the county, seeing the importance of utilizing volunteer opportunity, through partnering with other organizations such as GE, that's been a huge success. And I wanted to make a comment about Millennium Park. When Millennium Park first came on as a concept many, many years ago, I was involved in some of that discussion. And at the time, I wasn't really sold on the idea. I thought it was just too big of a park, too far away from the city, and that, you'd have to be a commuter to get there. I would be more aligned to something closer to the city that people could easily access. Well, I was out there with my family this summer, my grandkids, to Millennium Park, and it is truly an amazing place. Definitely the gem of the parks, and certainly a destination. And when I saw all the families there, I was trying to find a parking spot. It was hard to find parking, and the beach was just full of people. I mean, it was very vibrant and very exciting time to be there. So congratulations on a concept, well thought out, and it has turned to be exactly what we had hoped it would be. Thanks.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner LeGrand.
Thank you, Chair. I have just a couple questions. I wonder, with the increasing the volunteer coordinator to full-time, you said that that's paid back. Can you put a number on that? Like, do you know what the increase in volunteer hours is, or how much we've gained?
Yeah, yep. I don't have the exact numbers. In fact, I can actually see the chart sitting on my desk back in my office right now as well. But I would say it's been at least 20%. And again, in 2022, that was the first year. So again, just kind of ramping up in order to do that as well. So, but I'll make sure when I come back to give the 2023 report, I touch on that a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd be interested just to know how that's growing. And then I also wanted to ask about the invasive species. What are your top targeted invasive species? Obviously, you said there were 58.5 acres treated.
Yeah.
So is there like one or two things that we're really trying to get at, or?
Autumn olive, oriental bittersweet. Garlic mustard is still a big one. It feels like we've been battling garlic mustard for 100 years. Japanese knotweed is one that we're starting to see a lot of in Kent County that can be really destructive, especially if it moves its way into residential areas. So our volunteer coordinator, Ginny, was actually telling me that there's places in Europe where you cannot get home insurance if you have Japanese knotweed anywhere on your property because it can be so destructive to your foundations and stuff. So, but it seems like every week we get a notice from the West Michigan Conservation Network that, hey, another invasive species has been identified. So we obviously can't tackle all of them, but those are some of the key ones that we're fighting on a consistent basis.
And is that one of the activities that the volunteers do, or does staff work on that as well? Or?
Yeah, no, so it's all hands on deck. So we have our volunteers can do it, especially the stuff that's easy, right? So pulling the invasive species, daubing. So based on the licensure that's required, we can't have our volunteers spraying or doing anything like that, but there's easy activities that they can do. We have all of our full-time staff trained as well. In fact, they are today, there's about 6 of them that are at invasive species management program out at Ainta Township. So we're continuing to educate them about that as well. And then we bring in services as well. So again, the West Michigan Conservation Network actually has a strike team that's partially grant funded and then partially funded through the communities that they do the work in. We provide about $20,000 a year to them to come in to do professional management as well. So it's a all hands on deck type of activity.
Lots of approaches. Great, thank you so much.
Commissioner Hennessy.
Thank you. I appreciated your emphasis for, giving credit to James and Shirley Buck and their foundation. I think they do a lot for Kent County and in our communities, and I don't think we really recognize, it's not a name that's front and center for us, but they really are a very giving family and have made a big difference, and I'm appreciative that, you have recognized them today. These reports tend to look back a little bit. So right now, what are you doing this year? What grants are we looking at? What are the park improvements for this year and next? And if you had, I know you're going through the master plan process, but if you had your own wish list, where would you like to see us go that we're not right now pursuing? Like, would it be more campsites, acquiring one of these golf courses that's going out of business, setting up new parks maybe towards the urban areas more? I mean, if you had your own wish list, where would you go?
Yeah, yep. So I appreciate the question. So as far as the grants are concerned, you guys talked about it quite a bit earlier in the year, but we do have an open grant application for the natural area surrounding Cannonsburg right now. So we did get our initial feedback on that. So the way that process works is they give you feedback in September. You're afforded the opportunity to provide additional information to hopefully garner additional points. And then the final decision comes out in December. I think we do have a competitive grant application there. Staff is working right now to get some of the information we think that they need to bump up our point amounts. But we are in the range where I would consider that potentially a fundable project. So in terms of the projects that are going on right now, Wallfield, we talked about that a little bit, but that's certainly a park that we're looking at. Again, got the parking lot in there. We'd really like to turn around and do the phase 2 of that project next year. It would include the community center, another expansion on the parking lot, some restrooms. We do have what we're referring to in our organization as the Disneyland of dog parks master plan there as well. So when you talk about the master plan, not necessarily my wish list, but the community's wish list, we've consistently heard over the past 5 to 10 years that we want pickleball courts, we want splash pads, and we want dog parks. And dog parks is really the one that fits into the motif of what we do at Kent County. Not that we wouldn't consider those other items anyways, but so we're really looking at hopefully getting dog parks in a couple of our communities, community parks. When talking about what my wish list is, I really, over the next couple of years, I'm going to focus on developing our partnerships with our community organizations to provide assets. So, we hear a lot from our little leagues, from our soccer associations, from our rocket football associations that we don't have enough playing fields in Kent County. And I think when so the West Michigan Sports Commission recently had their master plan done as well, and they heard the same thing, that there simply isn't, not only is there not enough fields for what they do, which is bringing in these big regional, national sporting events, youth sporting events, but we don't even have enough fields for our community recreation, which is more of what we focus on now. So being able to partner with organizations like that and build fields that can serve those dual purposes of serving the needs of our community organizations, we're serving the economic development benefit of having those fields as well, is something that would certainly be on my wish list. And the other thing that I plan on looking at and that we are looking at right now is it has always been for 100 years, it's been the Kent County Parks Department. And we're really starting to take a look at what does a Kent County Parks and Recreation Department look like? So I don't think Kent County Parks will never have a coordinator that's, doing adult softball leagues and that kind of stuff. But I think that we're going to see in this master plan that there is a real demand for recreational-based activities in our parks, specifically things related to nature, and how do we partner with community organizations to provide that. So we're having great conversations right now with Blandford Nature Center about how we could potentially get some of their programming into their parks. We're working on developing a more robust partnership with KDL in their programming, and how do we get their programming out of their libraries and into our parks. We have a couple parks that are really close to their library areas, and there's a lot of other community partners that we could look at as well.
All right, sounds great. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate the report.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item on our agenda, Facilities Management Department, Tim Bradshaw. Welcome to this tough group.
Well, good morning. I think most of you know me at this point, but as Chair Burrow introduced, I am Tim Bradshaw. I'm the Director of Facilities Management. This week marks the start of my third month, so if Ben shouldn't get any credit, I should get even less for what the facilities team has achieved over the last year. I do want to note, though, it is an extremely talented team. They've been very welcoming to me, and I really appreciate that as I've come on board. And I also appreciate that the chair likes brevity, so for the purposes of your schedule, this is a very condensed snapshot of what the facilities management team of 30 staff achieves. So here's a sampling of approximately 1.5 million square feet of the facilities that the team is responsible for. It shows the health department at the Fuller campus, Veteran Services, the 180 Ottawa Courthouse, Animal Shelter, Fallsburg Dam, and then in particular some of our newer facilities. The Fleet Services building is in the lower right, and the new North County campus is in the lower left. Presentation overview, we're going to cover our mission and what we do, some of our department strategic goals, our key performance metrics, significant accomplishments achieved over the last year, and a look ahead at what we're expecting in the near future. I want to cover our mission, and that's to manage county facilities and projects, striving for customer satisfaction by recognizing and meeting the needs of departments, providing a safe environment for employees and visitors while maintaining fiscal responsibility in accordance with the policies and procedures of Kent County. So a little bit more about what we do as a facilities management team. We provide technical and managerial support for county buildings and properties, prepare our annual budget recommendations, renovate, repair, and maintain, construct, operate county properties, manage our major capital improvement projects, monitor and track leases between other departments, private businesses, and other governmental units, communicate with our internal and external stakeholders, and provide general administrative support. As I was preparing this presentation, I found this graphic on the lower left, and a picture's worth 1,000 words to me, so I felt like it was worth sharing. But within that little picture, which is kind of hard to see at this scale, you've got on-site technical service, HVAC maintenance, fire detection and alarms, security access control with card access, digital video recording for security, and then also water, electric, and energy management, which starts to show you the breadth of what our team achieves. So moving into department strategic goals, our goal number 1 is to plan, organize, and administer county building project development, including land acquisition and sale, facility renovation, and construction projects, and administer the county's lease program for the best value, maximizing quality and minimizing costs for long-term asset preservation. And our second goal is to provide safe, quality, value-based facilities management to the county. So I'm a civil engineering nerd, so I love a good graph. So I was excited to be able to insert one into the presentation. What you'll see here is a comparison of our annual capital project implementation over the last 6 years. So, and you'll also note that that trend line is trending up quite a bit. So back in 2017, we were maybe just under 3 million as far as where the trend line was, and now we're definitely up over 6 years later. So, and we're doing that with the same amount of staff. Certainly there's a little bit of inflation baked into those numbers, but we've been very busy achieving some pretty significant projects for the county in the recent past. And I guess I do want to note, numbers-wise, over that 6-year period, the total approved budget for capital projects completed was 43 million, and we brought those projects in at 37 million, so on or under budget. Another one of our key performance metrics is to provide a safe working environment, and our objective is to have 0 lost time safety incidents. We want to make sure that everybody on our project sites is safe. So in all of our work, both operations and construction, safety is the highest priority. We prioritize safety on all of our projects for all the contractors that work for us. And we follow, if they have specific guidelines, we make sure to follow theirs as well. And our team continues to have an excellent safety record as expected, with thanks to many who make it that top priority first thing every day and talk about safety and really understand their awareness and surroundings. Moving into 2022 and 2023 significant accomplishments. Short list here, we'll dive a little bit deeper on a couple of the projects in future slides, but again, completion of the North Campus Shared Health Department and Sheriff Facility was a big accomplishment for us. Construction of the Fleet Services Replacement Facility. Working on the Health Department clinic renovation design so that we can get that moving and under construction in the near future. We've replaced the Health Department carpet, which was a pretty big undertaking. The animal shelter and MSU co-op, drain commission parking lot were replaced earlier this summer. And 82 Ionia got the window security film on it to help protect that building should anything occur in the future. We're working on the Fallisburg Dam study and analysis, and lastly, moving our design forward for the medical examiner facility. So this is a aerial shot using our drone of the North County campus back in June of 2023. So I can assure you the grass looks a lot better now. It's much happier. But I feel really fortunate to have toured the facility and talked with a lot of staff that were there, and the Sheriff Department and Health Department staff are really pleased with it. We're also working with other departments who are considering adding an occasional satellite office to help serve our North County residents better, kind of going to them versus them coming to us. And so lots of folks are using the facility already. Next is our Kent County Fleet Services building. This is a rendering that Progressive AE, our architect, put together. And there is a ribbon cutting this morning at 11, so hope to see many of you there. This was a $4.4 million project. It serves over 300 of our vehicles in the fleet, a little over 13,000 square feet, and OAK managed construction for us. And really the need for this just kind of matches as our fleet continues to grow. We were kind of busting at the seams, and this sets us up for the future really nicely and improves some efficiencies. This might be a video. Oops. This is just a quick 15-second video, again, using the drone. This was back on September 12th, so this grass is also happier today. And some of the front windows were missing at the time, and they're in, as well as the fuel island stations are now in. So just a quick shot at what it looks like from the air. Oops. And coming toward the end of the presentation, a look ahead. So really moving into the Fleet Services building, we want to continue to support that team as they transition. Moving forward with our medical examiner design, with our consultant, Tower Pinkster Architect. Fuller Campus Administration Building Design, we've spent kind of some pretty extensive time vetting estimates and options in the last probably 4 to 5 weeks. We're hoping to have some recommendations for the board's consideration in October or November as we can continue working through those options, and then hopefully put out an RFP to get a design consultant on board to help us with that not long after. Health Department clinic renovations, some of the issues that the health department is having is privacy between rooms is lacking. You can kind of hear what the doctor's talking about through the wall, and we want to make sure we improve that for privacy. And it really just needs an overall facelift, as a lot of its finishes are kind of dated at this point. Next was creating a pavement asset management plan. I mentioned I'm a civil engineer, and I've done a lot of that work in my previous role at the city of Kentwood. So I wanted to bring that forward so that we can do the right fix at the right time on our pavement surfaces. And lastly, I'll touch on the demo of the Michigan State Police Lab that recently went out to bid. We expect that work to begin in October. But the good news from that is it creates space for us to potentially have a greater area that we can work and consider putting a new Fuller administration building. One additional future potential demo project that really isn't listed here is the hospital on the Fuller campus. Our lease currently goes through October of 2024 with Spectrum, and demo of that facility could then start after that lease expires. There'd be extensive remediation from asbestos and lead, so lots of things to work through, and that's a very large building, so it might take a full year to knock that down. I'll be pretty quick here. Just want to continue to note that our capital project life continues to be pretty difficult. The labor market continues to be strained, and certain materials are difficult to get. Most recently, blinds actually for this building are taking much longer than we would have expected to be delivered, and there was a breaker on the generator at the Fleet Services building that took months, and we thought it would be a week or two. So just little things in supply chain that we continue to work through. And with that, I want to thank you so much for your time listening, and I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Hey, thank you, Tim. That was not our buzzer up top, by the way, so stop that. Okay, yeah. Commissioner LeGrand.
Thank you, Chair. Just one question. You're talking about the pavement asset plan. What are our pavement assets, since we don't really do our own roads? I assume?
Sure.
Is it just surface lots? I mean,
Yeah.
what are we talking about?
Mainly parking lots. So my understanding is we do own the road network within the Fuller campus, so we do kind of have a very small private road network. But yes, basically parking lots, and also want to assist the sheriff's department in, putting an asset management plan for some of their facilities together too.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Bouchak.
Thank you, Chair. You've taken on quite a bit of responsibility, and as a commissioner, I have a personal goal of trying to go to every single facility and become familiar with where they are and, their locations. The other day, I drove by the South Health Department. I think it's in Kentwood, the old Kentwood Library. And I rubbernecked, I went, oh my goodness, we have another operation out here that I wasn't aware of. So certainly, the dynamics of all these buildings in their various locations spread out throughout the county makes your job that much more daunting. And I appreciate all the work that's being done to try to keep those facilities, in the highest quality, for the health reasons of the people working there, and obviously as an asset management for the county. So you've got a large responsibility, and good luck with that.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you acknowledging that, and I guess I would just add that many hands make lighter work, and I have a really strong team that, is in each of these facilities every day, and if we run into issues or problems, they're really good at communicating and making me aware so that I can then make you aware if it rises to that level.
All right. Commissioner Paclow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for the presentation. Welcome to your third month here. We're excited to have you. I had two questions. The first is, as we think about sort of the renovations to facilities and the new fleet services building, I noticed you pointed out the fuel island there. I'm wondering to what extent there are conversations swirling around future-proofing relative to electric vehicles and the kind of infrastructure that relates to the electric grid, broadly speaking. And then related to that is, I know there's significant amounts of federal dollars available through grants, and I comment a lot about how really fantastic we do as a county of achieving those grant-making and grant-seeking opportunities. I'm curious if those are also part of the conversations you're having to seek out some of those facilities-related, infrastructure-related building grants.
Sure. So I can't speak to the exact ratio of how many vehicles in our fleet are sheriff's department versus other, but I speculate it's 80% are sheriff. So I think that conversation would be led from what is the sheriff's department's needs. So, you know, can we recharge a patrol vehicle in the amount of time? Do we need more vehicles? What's the resiliency? So I think we would love to be a part of that conversation with the sheriff's department, but I think that would be the lead potential change.
If I could add one thing, electrifying the fleet has come up at various times over the years. About a month ago, Director of Strategic Impact, Josh Spencer, did go to a session hosted by the state over somewhere on the east side of the state, and it was about 7 hours of where the state's at, what they're looking at doing. What I got from that is that we might at some point pursue maybe a pilot, which with a very limited number of vehicles, just to kind of learn it and see how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you both for that. And just to clarify, my question is really around the future proofing, not the current, not the push currently to move to electric vehicles. Although I personally would support some of that conversation, but thinking about building it afresh sometimes is cheaper than having to renew it down the road, right? Sure. Installing the proper electric conduits later on, or providing the space for that to enter in the future, right? Those are the kinds of conversations.
Yeah, okay, thanks for that clarification. And yeah, I think we need to continue to be, as forward-thinking as we can be and adapt to emerging technologies and be flexible, because many of these facilities, especially the brand-new ones, we're hoping that are, they're gonna last 50, if not 100 years. So it's really important to try to predict the future as accurately as we can and be efficient and nimble.
All right, Commissioner Hennessy.
That question brings to mind, just how are you planning for energy conservation when as you work at the new medical examiner building, for example, or think about a new facilities for us in the future? How does the conservation of energy, materials conservation, how does that kind of thing come into play? And do we ever look for the certifications, like LEED certifications, or things like that demonstrate our commitment to conservation?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think the first tier to that answer is the building codes continue to, as they update every 3 years, are more restrictive on energy efficiency. So we're always meeting the minimum in the code, which continues to have a higher bar. We also look at a lot of the LEED portions, some of those certifications. I think we grab the low-hanging fruit that definitely makes cost-effective sense for us, but we want to continue to be very fiscally responsible in those amenities that we're pursuing. And then lastly, I would just add that we have really talented consulting design teams that help lead us through a lot of those decisions and those cost-benefit analysis. And they're right on the cutting edge in attending, all of these different events and presentations to understand what's out there. And personally, I'm excited to also get out and attend a lot of those events. I was at Hedrick Energy Conservation event at one of our parks just a couple of weeks ago, so I look forward to more opportunities like that.
Any other commissioners? All right, seeing none, thank you, Tim. Appreciate the presentation. Next item on our agenda, Commissioner Miscellaneous. Any commissioners with any comments, questions? Commissioner Baker.
Yeah, I didn't say this earlier, but just thinking about, as flashing back to my children's youth, how much time I spent at Millennium Park and also the zoo, just kind of thinking what I didn't appreciate as county resources at that time, but spent a lot of time at Millennium Park and appreciated it a lot and didn't really care who funded it. So anyway, so that's it.
All right, any other commissioner miscellaneous? Seeing none, meeting is adjourned.